the thing that I think I love about what you just said, the nuance of having sports conversation is so that we can be more informed with whatever opinion we may have or whatever take we may have. Because the more varied and the more expanse our opinion, the better of a journalist or a talking head or an analyst that you would be. So these nuanced conversations, I think, are necessary. But when you get to the spot where it's like, okay, well, uh, and I do have some of these got unplanted on the heel moments. One of them being Jordan and LeBron, but it's more along the lines of which one do I think is better. Outside of that, you can debate whatever you want about the two, because there are some things about LeBron that he does do better than Jordan, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I also know that the opposite is true too. But if you're not going to listen to why I'm saying the opposite is true, and you're going to be like, well, LeBron is just the greatest, and it was just open and shut for you. Well, what's the point in having the discussion?
Yeah,
And that's the issue.
and you're not, this is, and again, I'm just speaking from a viewer's point, because
Mhm.
I grew up watching all these shows, and
Right.
I grew up watching all these debate shows,
Mhm.
and just hearing people go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, you're not gonna change the other person's mind. Your goal as a show, my goal as a show,
Mhm.
is not to sway anybody's. I'm just gonna put the facts out there. I'm just
Right.
gonna put the story the way I see it out there. And my goal is not to change your mind. My goal
Right.
is to put it out there, and if it makes you think differently, awesome.
Mhm.
If it makes you, if it makes you agree with me, fantastic. Like,
Right.
that's awesome. But the whole goal is just is not to, I'm right and I'll always be right. The goal is, hey, this is how I see it. Here it is,
Mhm.
and we'll see what happens. Like, um, the thing that gets me is when people just stay on their, when people get on their soapbox and they stay on this is how it is and I'm not changing. I'm like,
Right.
no, that you're going, you have to evolve with all your stuff. I mean, perfect example in the news today is the Deshaun Watson case. When the Deshaun Watson case blew up, everybody came out and said from the beginning, this guy's a monster. This is what he did. And I'm like, you need to calm. I'm like, we need to take this in steps because things are going to change in this real quick. I said it the first minute that story broke. I said, this isn't the end. We're at the beginning. I said, I'm not making any judgments until I get all the facts here. But I saw people coming out, this guy will never play again. And I was like, slow your roll down. Then we started looking into it, and we've had discussions on Snowman in the Morning. We've had news break left and right in this story. And at every turn, there's always those people that are, nope, he should be gone forever. I'm like, the facts have changed, man. look at what's going on. But there are people that, nope, what I said from day one, I'm sticking to it. And it's like, all right, there's no sense debating you, because if you're not going to change, if you're not going to evolve your position, then there's no sense in us talking.
Right. Right. And I'll admit, with that particular case, yeah, my stuff has evolved, and it had to evolve. Because I said this guy ain't been in jail for jaywalking. What makes me think that that he would do anything that would be I'll be blunt, ignorant as doing this thing, and settling with many of them. I'm like, okay, well, I guess there is some smoke here, unfortunately. But yeah, and I.
Well, that was the thing. That was the weird thing about that case. Well, when it first broke, it was like one or it was one or two. When the first case came out, I said, "This doesn't sound like that. This does not sound like the Deshaun Watson I know. This doesn't sound like him." Then all of a sudden, it was 3 cases. Then it was 6. Then it was 20. Then it got up to 20, and it was like, okay, this is growing. So there's something. There's something here.
Right.
Something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started to get to, all right, how, and then it started to get, all right, how did we get here? And that's when I jumped in like, whoa, there's factors that nobody's even looking at right now. There's other factors here that we need to investigate more. And I watched people talk about this. I watched other people talk about it. They don't even care. No, it's one-sided, and we're not even gonna entertain the other side. And it's like, there are 2 sides to every story. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. If I didn't see it, then there's 2 sides to the story. Like if I'm physically in the room, then there's only one side I need, mine.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not there, and there's 2 other people, and there's 2 people in the room that are saying 2 different things, I can't just take one person's word. I have to take both, see what matches, see what doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's the way I approach most stories. And because if I'm not there to physically see it, I have to listen to both sides.
Right.
Because I can't take one person's word.
Right. Yeah. And if you were to do that, that would make you or me or anybody in this industry an irresponsible journalist, because we're supposed to weigh all these sides and not really take one, but to basically say, okay, here's this side, the truth, almost every bit of it seems to be in the middle every time you have these types of stories. Here is what you should be not necessarily thinking about. This is what you should be hearing. Because 2 + 2 = 4 here. You're just dealing with the 2 that's in the equation that has not been solved yet.
But that's just that, and that's the real thing. That's why Snowman in the Morning exists. That's why the Fifth Down Sports Show exists. We exist because the big time media is not doing that.
No.
My show exists because I look at both sides.
Mm-hmm.
When I watch big time media, whether it's anything, whether it's Fox News, MSNBC, ESPN, ABC News, any of those outlets, when you watch them cover a story, you see that I've grown up watching all of this stuff, and it's bleeding into YouTube media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people that will come out and just slam one side of the equation, and you're like, wait, well, can't you see it from the other? Explain. We need to hear what the other side is doing.
Yeah.
We need to hear what the other side's thinking, and you don't hear that.
No.
You don't hear that ever. You don't hear the other side. If you're not hearing one side, then you can't form an opinion.